that is the willy waving way of saying how fast your car is. I need to do the YouTuber thing. If you got one of these going cheap, let me know. Right then, car review time. So I don't know whether I'll say what we're in and let you have a little guess in comments before we reveal. Or maybe thumbnail will tell you, I don't know. Dropped on pretty lucky. I'd been looking at these anyway. When I said to George I was looking at this brand of car, I was like, oh, it's fastest diesel in the world, innit, Dad? And all this carry on. So that basically means you've got to buy it, doesn't it? If your 8-year-old tells you. But I had been looking anyway. I think they're still a bit too expensive, but they have dropped a fair bit from brand new. And it's fastest accelerating diesel car in the world. I think they're... How fast are they to 60? 4.8 or something like that. The quickest thing we've ever done, I think we've done a 2.98 0 to 60, which I don't launch things, but that is the willy waving way of saying how fast your car is. I've not driven one of these before. I've driven the V6 version and it really underwhelmed me. But this one feels different already. The tyres are noisy though, aren't they?
I think Porsches are known for having a lot of tyres.
Because
they just put massive tyres.
Yeah, the N-rated tyres, which are good for doing 200 mile an hour, but...
And the stock tyres always Pirellis as well.
These are Contis on this, aren't they? Tracking's a little bit out as well.
But other brands are available.
Yeah, other brands are available. But that's cruising at 56 mile an hour and it's noisier than I'd want it to be, I'd say. But this one's on air suspension in it, so this is smooth. I know what it feels like in the bends. Feels pretty firm, not boaty. I think if I got one of these, I'd want air suspension, just because it's a big barge. But the customer in this has requested that we make it safe for the track, which I did express to him. I don't think this is a track car, despite it being a Porsche. It's a 2.5 ton Porsche, or whatever they weigh, 2.3 ton or whatever it is. But the customer gets what the customer wants. We'll do a nice headline dyno figure, then do him his EGT safer tune, because it'll be the EGTs that limit everything on this. It always is. And then we'll see what's what. I have said if he finds he don't like it on track and he wants his extra power back, we can just flash him that tune on. It's a weird noise. Did you feel that then? That was very weird then, wasn't it? Nope. Like something rubbing or something.
Shifts aggressively.
Yeah, really good gear shifts. You can tell it's got a lot of torque limitation on the kick down. We're going to have to try and dig deep into this menu and see how do you adjust heaters, their climate. There, this is what we're on about. Windscreen, how do you get to windscreen? Saying it's off. How do you turn it on? Oh my god, this is impossible. This is what the reviews say.
Oh, we got a button there.
Oh, there's a button there for that one. What they said about the old model, the Gen 1, was that everything were on a button, which were good. But it's all this modern, making everything a computer, innit? It just helps them when they're developing it, doesn't it? They put a screen in and then they can make it do all stuff they forgot about. This is an 8-speed dual clutch, innit? Which is not a common thing. With being a Porsche seem to like doing their own thing with gearboxes, which don't always work out. Tons of low down, and then it comes in.
It's when the other turbo switches.
So this has still got the silly, what is it, about 2300, 2400 RPM changeover.
One exhaust valve.
Yeah.
They all go to one. Then the other one, they all go to the second one.
Yeah.
And the problem is, until the RPM, the other turbo's got no turbo speed.
Yeah.
And then it kicks in, and then you've got that.
So the twin turbos on these are not controlled as, they're not really controlled as two separate turbos like on older V8s and stuff. They're more in a sequential arrangement, even though they're the same size.
I mean, on the road it feels like just a bit of a jumping bar, and then on the downhill.
Yeah, it's massive, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah, you get the dip. Like, you don't feel a dip, you just feel a kick, don't you? It's like, oh, we'll do it again. There. I think higher the gear, lower it seems to do that, doesn't it? Like that were nearly 3,000 then, weren't it? It's definitely torque limited low down, this, though, isn't it? Really torque limited. Sounds alright, doesn't it?
I wonder if it's got speakers going on or not.
You reckon?
I don't know.
Doesn't sound like it, does it?
Sounds good.
But you never know. Gear changes are quick, though, aren't they? Like that. Straight there. It revs it to 52, 5300. It didn't auto upshift either, did it? And these are four-wheel drive as well, aren't they? So, yeah, I think all in all it drives alright, doesn't it? So we'll come back when this is tuned, or at least on the dyno. We'll see what happens. So ignore me covered in mud, that's from a transporter. So yeah, you probably guessed it was a Panamera. I'm not sure I even said it when I was driving. Maybe I did, maybe I didn't. But obviously this is the 4S diesel, which means it's four-wheel drive and a 4 litre. So let's have a look at what it is. So obviously we're only messing about with engines and stuff like that. So we're not getting into a full-blown car review. I've not driven it enough to do that. So that's the engine. It's a Porsche 4 litre diesel, which is basically just an SQ7 engine with no 48 volt alternator, supercharger, and obviously the anti-roll bars that come with it. So that is the engine. So when we're doing the road test, we're talking about the little dip. Now the turbos are arranged in a crazy fashion. Even though they're both similar size and stuff, they work in a sequential arrangement. So half of the exhaust valves are closed, and then they switch over and they open. So as you'll see in a second on the dyno graphs, that gives you a bit of a weird dip. But you don't feel a dip, you just feel a surge. So it's weird, it's weird. But this has done like 60 odd thousand miles, a little bit grubbiness here and there on EGR system, but obviously the turbos are up here. Hot V. I think we'll put a link into the SQ7 engine. There's like a self-study program which is quite interesting on how all that works, and this is pretty much the same. I think looking at these, I don't know if they're the same arrangement. I'd have to double check. I haven't had a look at an SQ7 for a while, but I think there's some differences between these. Look, the fans are on at the minute because it's just doing a regen as well, or it was just doing a regen. Yeah, nicely, tightly packaged in. This is on air, which these look a bit peculiar. But yeah, it's there we go. The fans have stopped. Hot V. So this would be a nice engine to bring back an R8, I think, or a Lamborghini. I don't know. Should be a nice tight package at the side, which is where you'd struggle if you want to go crazy, and then your turbos are up here, which whether you can make them better, I don't know. But yeah, let's have a look at the power. So these are meant to be 422 horsepower. This one has done 450 on our dyno, which the SQ7s normally do about 420, 430-ish, and then we get them to just about 500, so it's like a 70 horsepower gain roughly. and this, we're pretty much there with the gains. We're just not very happy in the tuning. Around this area here, we should be a bit flatter on the torque, which should bump the power up a little bit in the mid-range and maybe give us a little bit more, because we're revving all the way to 5, but it's making peak power at more like 4. We're asking for 1,000 Newton meters, and we're getting just less than that in the logs. Obviously, it doesn't translate exactly to what you're getting, but the torque's there as well. That should be like 630 foot-pounds. It's near to 700, and we've gained nearly 100 foot-pounds, which I think we can gain a little bit more, but we'll see. Pounds-feet. Gain 100 pounds-feet. The good thing with this, the standard EGTs, the hottest we could get them on a long pole on the dyno, which was similar to what you could get on the road within reason, that were like 780s, something like that. So let us know what yours is doing if it's different. And then with the tune, we're only at around 820. So these still scope to push it a bit further, but the lambda's very similar, so that'll help the DPFs. If you get rid of the DPF and stuff, then you could push it further. But not a lot, we don't think. There's a lot going on there that we don't want to melt. When you've got exhaust flaps and stuff, that's not really ideal. Whether it be Sing, if you're opened all that up, I'm not too sure. But as you can see, we're down at 1400 RPM, 1500 RPM start, and we're already at 800 pound-feet of torque. I think this is booked at doing peak torque at 1000 RPM, which is absolutely mental. 1000 to 3000, where you've got sort of the same torque all the way through. So really good. So this should be a fair bit quicker. We can't read the gearbox for some reason, so we're going to have to look into that, because that might be where the torque limiter's coming in. So we might have to start doing some trickery to make it do what we want it to do. But yeah, Matisse going to keep plodding on, because it is late. The customer's been here most of the day, so we want to try and get this sorted. Probably a tall order is getting this done in the day. We should have probably said leave it a couple of days. But anyway, we'll see, and hopefully I can get out in it and see what it feels like with a tune on. What does 530 horsepower feel like compared to 450? And the dip feels dippier. That felt good, that though, didn't it? Like, even though it's got all the torque at 1000 RPM that it's got, it feels better to boot it at 3000, doesn't it? That's crazy, isn't it? I don't like how it kicks down though. It felt like it's standard. Yeah, it's definitely like a really torque limited kick down, innit? I'd say in most other cars, like you'd say, you don't need the kick down, but because of the like the switch of it, you do need that kick down, don't you? It's fast though. I need to do the YouTuber thing. Oh my god. I think this is the type of car though you could infinitely play with and make it tiny bits better every time. If I did get one, should I get one? If I did get one, I think we'd have to play with launch and stuff like that, like have a day somewhere. Does this work? See if windscreen demists. Oh, it's misted up worse. I can't see, Captain. What's happened? Why has it done that to us? You can definitely tell that they've tried to keep this gearbox in one piece on kickdown, don't they? They're so weird, these engines, aren't they? Because obviously, like, you look at the figures, what they tell you, it makes peak torque at 1000 RPM. You'd assume it didn't rev. And it just gets faster and faster as it revs, doesn't it? Literally. Even though it only makes peak power at just over 4, it still just keeps getting faster. It's like when you look at all reviews and stuff, they're saying about how fast it is mid-range. You can feel it, can't you? There's not much stuff that you can just put your foot down and it just goes like that. It's just the actual speed it gets from, say, 50 to 70 is quick. It's just when you put your foot down, you don't always get that immediate kick, do you? That's the only thing that I'd say it's lacking. Like a 3.5D in Sport Plus, it's just there, isn't it? It's like it's not. It's the kick down's worse, isn't it? I think if you put it into manual, get it up on revs. Still a little delay, isn't there? It's ridiculous. That gearbox is nice, isn't it?
Yeah.
To say it's not got a gearbox tune on, that's the best changing gearbox, isn't it? Yeah, that's pretty quick, that, isn't it? Decisions. Does Darkside need a Panamera 4-litre diesel project car? So, if you've got one of these going cheap, let me know.